Make money, money, make money, money, money.
Make money, money, make money, money, money.
Oh, I thought I was going to finish then. Welcome into the Fantasy Wildcard DFS show. It's the best free. It's week 3. We are bringing you the good stuff. We're going to be guiding you through Sunday's main slate at DraftKings. We're going to be highlighting our key plays for cash and GPP. I'm that amped. I'm not even going to come to you boys in the intro. We're going to jump straight into cash lineups. And it's a simple question to both of you. It's our first show where we've had all 3 of us on, so it's going to be super exciting to get some crazy ideas out of there. Cash lineups. Ali, how are you attacking them this week?
I am attacking them with volume for running backs. I think absolutely loving the running back. I love the running back position last week, carried me to cash success. I only managed to put cash lineups together last week, and I cashed in all of them. And it's because I was happy to pay up at the running back position. So people like Kamara, 7.5k, I'm still very happy to pay up for. He's involved in every phase of the game. He's matchup proof. I think they've got another tough matchup this week, but he's matchup proof, so he's going to get the volume. Same with Jordan Mason. He's still far too cheap at 6.2k. And I really like Tony Pollard as well with Tajay Spears, questionable for week 3. He's really cheap as well. Then even a little bit cheaper, Zamir White, who's not been, producing for fantasy. But Antonio Pierce has come out and said that he still wants to give, the plan is to give Zamir White 20 touches per week. They're playing the Carolina Panthers. So I just think that is absolute money this week. And then with wide receivers, I want targets. I want guaranteed targets. So the likes of Nico Collins, who's been absolutely flooded with targets, 7.3k. He's still cheap, 1,500 cheaper than CD Lamb, who's in a tough matchup. Chris Godwin, what can I say? 6.5k for the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy right now. WTF, what the... And then Brandon Ayuk, 6.2k with Deebo Samuel out this week, I think is an absolute steal. So I'm looking for volume. I'm looking for targets. That is how I'm attacking cash.
What the volume, isn't it? It's cracking effort that. I think, when you're saying volume at the start, it got me thinking of shampoo. So maybe there's a nice shampoo play for you this week. And you've highlighted it really well with the guys at running back that really stood out. Max, how are you attacking this slate?
Well, I want to be head and shoulders above the rest, obviously. I'm not getting too cute. Last week, I think we kind of talked about it, Kev. We talked about potential stacking in cash lineups, and I think I got too cute last week. I got absolutely shafted by injuries on a lot of my cash lineups as well. So I'm just going back to my tactic that I had in week 1. Keeping it simple. Where's the clear value? What do I see? Brock Purdy, great matchup against the Rams, 6k. Get him in. Devon Achane, we talked about it before. Game wrecker, 7k. Get him in. Chris Godwin, Ali, you mentioned it, 6.5k. Get him in. Find where the obvious value is. Don't get too cute with the cash. Take the layups when you can get them. That's what I'm going to be doing with all my cash lineups. Looking for those easy layups. Ali, you mentioned loads of them. Jordan Mason, easy layup. Just don't get too cute. Take the value. Take the cash. That's it. I'm keeping it simple.
Can't believe I missed Head and Shoulders pun on a shampoo thing. That's why you're the best one, Mags. No, I think, Godwin's come up twice there in the discussion. He's someone that's just the obvious play. Like you said, obvious plays. Don't be getting it too cute. Just try and follow. Think like what the popular crowd will do with the week slate. And well, I'm following you guys. Jordan Mason, he was over 50% owned in the Millie Maker, which is meant to be full of sharks and fish, actually. 6,200, that feels so popular, so safe. As to all the 49ers against the Rams, who look absolutely terrible with all the injuries, it's kind of not their fault with all the injuries, but I think any 49ers player you play this week, you can be confident in their volume and what they can do. I'm swinging a little bit towards the defense now. I think the Bucs. I mean, I can't believe I'm the first to name the Bucs. Well, I'm actually not. Ali mentioned Godwin in the first piece within about a minute of the show, but Bucs at home to the Broncos, 3,000. Interesting thing to do is when you're on DraftKings, look at the lowest team in the salaries. That's the green, the best matchup. They're often the most popular on the week, so that's one to check out for future weeks. And if you listen to last night's Dynasty show, Brock Bowers, he was getting a ton of love on there. the only tight end with 6 receptions both weeks, tight end 3, top tight end in both those weeks. Tight end 5 in pricing, 5,400. That's super secure. It's someone that you can feel confident with. And who would have thought that a 21-year-old rookie tight end would be the one that we're gravitating towards as our safe play in week 3 of the season? Now, we're going to switch it up. We don't want to be going safe now. We're coming to our GPP, our guaranteed price pool tournament play where you're making money and where you win big. So, Ali, what are you doing in GPP this week?
I'm going hard this week, Kev, because I built up my cash pot this past week with doubling up. So this week, I'm looking at I'm targeting the high over/under games. There's not that many on the slate this week. I think injuries has got a lot to do with it as well. There's not massive matchups, but there are 3 that really interested me. So Lions at Cardinals, we spoke about it before, 51.5 points. That is fantasy gold. So that I'm targeting that game. Your Eagles, won't mention them too much, at the New Orleans Saints that have scored 40 plus in both of their games. That's a 48.5 point over under. And then the Texans at the Vikings. Hopefully Justin Jefferson is healthy. That's got a 47 point over under. So I think these 3 are where I'm going to be building my lineups and featuring them. So what my plan is to target a stack or a double stack and then bring back on the other side. So I thought of a few here. So Kyler, and a lot of people will be going for Marvin Harrison Jr. I just think he's a rookie. He didn't have a massive volume, but he got it with efficiency. So I think going for Trey McBride is to get different. So I think I like the Kyler Trey McBride that's had plenty of targets. And then bring it back with Amon-Ra St. Brown on the other side, or Jameson Williams, the absolute stud. Another one would be Hurts, Devonta Smith. AJ Brown is going to be missing another week or 2. So I really like that stack. And then bring that back with Rashid Shaheed, the absolute legend, or perhaps Chris Olave to get a bit different, because I think a lot of people are fading Chris Olave with his struggle at the start of the season. I think it's only time before he really hooks it together with Derek Carr, so I think that could be an interesting one. Or we can go really wild with the Darnold Jefferson stack. We saw the 90-plus yard touchdown reception, absolute money. That stack could be really fruitful, considering they're going to have to keep up with the Texans' high-powered offense. Bring that back with the Texans wide receiver. And I'm thinking perhaps not Nico Collins, just because everybody's in on Nico Collins. Perhaps go Stephon Diggs. I'm thinking revenge game, which could be interesting narrative. And that's also going to get different from the rest of the field. So I'm targeting the high over-unders with some stacks, double stacks, and a bring back.
I love the revenge game narrative. Like, I said it last week with Hayden Hurst and the Panthers. Obviously, that didn't work. But I do like it in general, if I'm being honest. I think, Rashid Shaheed's a guy that stood out from that list there. That 5,500, I think, was his price on DraftKings. Someone that I think is going to be super popular, but maybe get crazy, get Derek Carr in there as well. Who knows? But I do like the process of these high over-under games. If they're going off like we expect they will, that's going to be really fruitful for your tournament lineups. And hopefully this is the week when it actually comes together. I've seen through the slate, there's a lot of high over-unders this week where in the first couple of weeks, scoring's been lower than anticipated. So Mags, GPP, how are you going to get the people making their money?
You know, I was looking at sort of the scores from week 2 and just going, what is going on? The amount of like bounce back players that we didn't really see coming that were so high up on the list that we've seen in the Millie Maker, like Daniel Jones, for example, was in that lineup. I'm gonna go. We always talk about getting different in this show. I'm gonna try and make sure that I'm getting different in my cash lineup. So I'm gonna include someone like a DJ Moore going up against Indy, or Michael Pittman Jr. on the other side of the ball going up against Chicago. People that we know they're both really, really good players, but they haven't quite hit that target yet this year. I'm going to take a risk and think that this is the week that they're going to hit that boom week. And hopefully, because they've not really been showing it, they're going to be low owned. Guys like we mentioned them in the Dynasty Show, Sam Laporta obviously has not got going yet. Those are the 3 names that come to mind here that I want to go and get them into my lineup, because nobody else is looking that way. And all 3 of them have the capability to really, really win you GPP lineup because nobody else is putting them in their lineup.
Yeah, I think the Laporte one, like, he did get a small amount of stick from me last night, which I'm not sorry for. He deserves it. But I think you're exactly right. People are going to think big price. He's not done it. There's the definite pivots there, Amon-Ra and Jameson, as Ali said as well. So I think that could be a sneaky one that if he goes off, that's going to be fantastic. Jared Goff as well is a guy that if you're linking it to Laporta, like, he's not done what was expected at home.
Yeah.
Like, in these dome games, a lot was made of the dome situation. So I like the contrarian bounce back where you're going against Graham, whereas in cash you're thinking who's on people's radar. Oh, it's Nico Collins who's flying. It's Marvin Harrison. You've got to try and like think the opposite in tournament play and tell a story to yourself of who's going to be the bounce back players this week. So love them shouts, Mags. I think for me, big thing that stood out was wide receivers at the top. A lot of the players at the top are either questionable or out, or in Tyreek Hill's case, playing without Tua. So you've got like your Justin Jefferson, who's questionable, Amon-Ra, AJ Brown, who's going to be out, Cooper Kupp as well. So I think it makes that second tier really interesting. Marvin Harrison and Nico Collins are guys that they are at the forefront of people's minds. I'd be careful with that to see what ownership percentage they are. And there's great pivots. I think that I absolutely love that revenge game narrative of Stephon Diggs or a move to a Tank Dell. That's an interesting one. And like you say, Marvin Harrison pivoting someone else. Trey McBride makes a ton of sense on that. I think A-Chain, he got mentioned earlier in the cash bit. Running back 5 is, for me, wild. He's running back 2 on the season. 7,000, it's a must pick in your play pool. I think he's got to be in as many lineups as you can fit him in this week. And you know me, I like to talk about defense and special teams. I'm going to say it. I think paying down at this spot, Saints at home to the Eagles is one that I'm begrudgingly going to be in on because of some of the issues that offense is having, and Hurts with his interceptions, etc. I think the Bears at the Colts is another one at 2,600 that could be potentially chalky with how well that defense is playing. But also, I'm gonna go back to last week's show. The Vikings defensive special teams, I called them out. They did the business against the 49ers. I've not got many interesting fun stats about Brock Purdy this week, but I think it's a tough matchup, so maybe they're not going to be chalk. 22 points to score in week 1, 13 in week 2, but being the top 2 in both weeks in DFS. They're a team that I think, it could be a shootout game. It's high over under. Just try and think of it. It could go the other way. It might be one of these where it gets a little bit tight. There's passing game involvement and there's plenty of opportunities for sacks and interceptions. So I'm not going to probably take them this week, but something to bear in mind at the defense and special team spots. So we're going to start and to dig a little bit deeper now. Going to the wildcard picks, where we're going to pick out some guys which they're a little bit lower in value. They've got that potential to boom. Might bust, but they're going to boom. Who have we got, Ali?
Definitely not going to bust. This is bust proof. This is a guy that has busted the first 2 weeks, but his quarterback is officially busted. So this is a guy that's sub 5K. I've gone for Deontay Johnson bounce back with Andy Dalton. That is just giving me, I'm just getting aroused thinking about it right now. I think I might even have some sneaky stats with Dalton and Deontay Johnson. Probably throw my money away, but Deontay Johnson, I think at 4.9K is really, really interesting at Las Vegas Raiders, who I think their offense started to get things going against the Ravens this week. The second half looked absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I just think it's time for the bounce back. And nobody at all is playing Deontay Johnson after his terrible start to the season. So he is my wildcard pick to sneakily boom, especially at that price. I think it could easily 2 or 3 times that and really help your GPP lineups this week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure before the show you said a sentence involving Andy Dalton and hard on, so I think it just ties in really well with Johnson. So yeah, Max, how can you make some sort of innuendo reference with your guy?
Well, I don't know about my guy, but if Deontay does boom, Ali might bust. Just saying. My guy is someone that I know got Ali real revved up last week. Jackson Smith and Jigba. Hey, guys, he finally did it, right? He finally started looking like the guy we all knew that he was. I really hope that his coaches were watching because he's a clear weapon on that team. He's going up against the Miami Dolphins, who they've been going through a bit of an identity crisis now. So I think Jackson Smith and Jigba, 5.4K. Hopefully he continues to be a target monster and is a sneaky wild card. And hopefully this is the last time this season we could call JSN a wild card and he starts to become a stable guy that we're happy to plug into lineups.
No, I love that. I think it's really interesting with JSN. Like, it got me thinking back to the Millie Maker, and a few teams in that top 10 had Geno Smith as QB, so that was pretty crazy. We've all been speaking highly of A-Chain in the past couple of days, weeks, years, etc. I think if you're playing A-Chain and you want to get something on the other side, JSN seems like the sensible pick to pick out of the Seattle team, especially with DK performing well last week. And at a really attainable price at 5.4. So I think it's two great wildcard picks so far. I'm going to bring you mine, which compared to those guys, I'm feeling a little bit like I've busted and I'm done pretty much. So it's Jalen Talbot, 3,800 against the Ravens. I like the shootout potential. I like the fact that he's probably going to be the second option in this offense. Brandon Cooks, flip, maybe. Jake Ferguson, I'm kind of hoping he plays, and he's not up to 100% for this to really pull off. But I just think at the price, 3,800 in a high over/under, a dome game at home. It might become pretty popular, but we'll have to see how that checks in near the time with the ownership percentages. Okay, we're getting to the business end of the show, the star picks. I'm going to try not to gloat too much, but I am 2-0 on the season, unlike the Eagles. Last week's picks, we had a bit of a mixed bag. We had Mags with Jaden Daniels at a 2.17 multiplier, me at Baker Mayfield at a 3.36, and Ali at Tyler Johnson at 1.21. So I'm 2. These boys are 0. My luck's got to run out sometime. Ali, you reckon the comebacks on? Who have you got this week?
Yeah, so I thought I've not been here for the past couple of weeks. I would let you boys get a head start on me. And this is where I really, really start reeling you boys in because comeback's officially on. We mentioned it before. Jordan Mason is far too cheap at 6.2K. You might as well make him 8K just because I think he is going to get that Christian McCaffrey workload. He's not as good as Christian McCaffrey, but he's playing the Rams, who were absolutely terrible. James Conner, he put up over 100 yards, big game against the Rams this week. And I just think they're going to be running the game out and Jordan Mason's going to get plenty of workload. 6.2K, he's going to 3x this week at least and get me back in the running for first place. So give me some Jordan Mason.
Yeah, I think with this, like in my head, a median outcome, sort of an average week for him is going to be 16, 17 points in my eyes. So yeah, a little bit worried about you picking first, me picking last on this one. Well, actually, you picked second this week because Mags, he just couldn't wait to get his guy on the sheet and his star pick. And Mags, let the audience know who you're really in on.
Same matchup. I think Brock Purdy might put on a little bit of a show against the Rams here. Could throw for several touchdowns. Obviously, he's not really much of a rushing threat, but I think the 49ers might want to look to style on the Rams a little bit. Maybe some other teams that might run it out and just be happy with a win. I think they're going to want to put a bit of a hurting on the Rams, and I think Brock Purdy will take advantage of that and well outproduce his 6K.
Yeah, look, the QB positions won both week 1 and week 2 in our competition. Maybe something to note moving forward, but I think what's fun for me on the outside looking in is you've both picked 49ers players, so I can see you both like twitching as that game's unfolding, thinking, "Oh, I want Purdy to do well, but I hope it's not a pass to Jordan Mason and stuff like that." Or maybe a pass interference leading to a rushing touchdown could be quite quite funny in that one towards the end. So we just have to see how it pans out. But like we said earlier on, 49ers guys are going to be money this week. And it brings you to my guy. I've gone for Sam Darnold, 5.5K for the Vikings at home to the Texans. I was on the Rewind show on Monday and I was bigging up Sam Darnold. I don't know what's come over me. It's like I'm his biggest fan. And I just think it's really interesting. Great game environment, home dome team, strong over-under. People are scared with potentially Justin Jefferson having a questionable tag and Jordan Addison may or may not play. The Texans have conceded 40 rushing yards both weeks this season so far, and they were susceptible to the rushing upside last season. I think that Darnold can be that sort of sneaky athlete. We say that about white guys, don't we? If they've got a bit of rushing upside, sneaky athlete. So I think he can do it. I said on the Rewind show, top 5 week rushing touchdown, Vikings win. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. Let's get in on Sam. Yeah. And on that, that's the end of our show. We've had the best 3 on this week, and we've no doubt helped you win some money. So thank us. If you win some money, do thank us. Let us know. If you don't, then send it to our admin guy, Paul Pickin, at Paul_Pickin. He'll help you with that. He'll reimburse you. So thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow us and subscribe to us on X and YouTube at Wildcard DFS and at Fantasy Wildcard. Join us every Wednesday of the season where we help you make that money. Thank you once again. Have a good one, and we'll see you again soon.